What is up, team Happy and Fit? Happy Tuesday. Happy almost Valentine's Day. A couple of things before we get started. Number one is that we have a coach sneak peek happening on Thursday. It's live. It's a live coach sneak peek with this Zoom line. It will be a Zoom like this, and some other coaches and I are going to freaking bring it. They're going to share some of their stories. We're going to talk about the 5 reasons you should join a team. We're going to talk a little bit about Beachbody and then how you can get started. Let me tell you, if you're posting on your stories about the coach sneak peek, the people who are viewing it, send them a message. Yesterday in the Q&A, we were talking about fear and what we're afraid of. And the more I thought about that today, the more I realized this. How many of you have ever felt like you've annoyed someone? Ever in life, not just with coaching. How many of you have ever felt like you embarrassed yourself? I peed myself at the age of 18. And I peed myself when I was in the hospital about to have Faye, like all over the floor. Been there. How many of you survived all those moments? That's the same thing with inviting. Like if you're afraid of being annoying, afraid of being pushy, afraid of doing all these things, let me tell you, I have been pushy before. I have been salesy before. I have been annoying before. I have been this and that before, but I just kept going anyway, right? You can never say the wrong thing to the right person. And we have a coach sneak peek. So if you post about that on your stories, just invite them. And then we're doing that live call. And then we're starting the self-love club on Monday. So you can continue to post about that and use the video that I made. Keep it short, sweet, and simple. That is what people want. Short, sweet, simple. Make it easy for them to make the decision. Make it easy for them. And how you make it easy is that you keep it short, sweet, and simple. All right? That makes it easy for them. People don't want to be overwhelmed with the amount of information and a lot of choices. They just need simplicity. Enough about that. We're going to get started. We had 3 coaches from our organization go all the way to Los Angeles, 2 coaches from Iowa, 1 coach from Wisconsin, and they got invited to the New Leader Conference. How you get invited to that is you go 1 star. So what do you do if you're a coach or an emerald or a diamond? You just go emerald again, and then you go emerald again. Baby steps, okay? Trust the process. Anyway, they got invited. When I say I crashed the party, like I was wearing sweats pretty much, and everyone else was so fancy, but this party was extravagant. And I've been to some parties like this, but it was just so cool to see the excitement. I think on our mothership team, I want to say there was 19 coaches. Can we just say that there's enough room for you? I just made a shout out for Corey Morton. She just went emerald, but can I also just say that we don't own this space? We don't own the fitness space. We don't own the rank space. We don't own the motherhood space. We don't own the whatever space. There's enough room for us, but we don't own any kind of space. And that's really awesome. So that also goes for no one else owns the space. Any other authors, they don't just own the author space. Anyone can be an author. And so whatever you're wanting in your life, for me, it's this vision and legacy of I just want to impact 7 generations. I want them to be more fulfilled. I want them to have genuine faith and not forced religion, right? I want them to just have this pure willingness to want to serve and help people. And I just feel like that gets to start with us. If you're reading Build to Last, he said, right now, who we are, it's been 7 generations ago that we are where we are right now, with some family chains that have been attached to us. I'm ready to break some chains. I think I'm on my way there, and it's just being cognizant of that. So Morgan, Bro, Amanda and Jill got to go, and it was just so fun hugging them. I think I saw them for a quick few hours, but I was so excited to watch their excitement. So we're going to start with Morgan. You guys, she has the flu right now and is trying. I have my dinner here, but I'm not going to eat it. And I'm not even going to show that. So go take it away, sister. I'm so proud of you, and I'm so glad I got to hug you. And their names were on the side of a building in downtown LA. Their names on a building in downtown LA. It was so cool.
That was unreal. So I think we were kind of talking at dinner on the final night that I think we're going to just talk about the experience, all 3 of us, and then we can bounce into our takeaways. But first of all, I'm just so grateful we can meet up virtually tonight because you all don't want what's going on here. Traveling, man, I tell you. So first of all, I just want to express my gratitude for Beachbody as a company. We partner with the best company, and we all will talk about this, but the Intercontinental is just like a top of the line hotel. I don't know if you guys have ever frequented one of those places, but I was immediately outside of my comfort zone because of how just beautiful and gorgeous and insanely awesome that it was. There were top coaches wandering around, super trainers wandering around, and like to people outside of Beachbody, that doesn't seem like a big deal, but to us, our heads were just constantly on a swivel. And it was just like you check in, from the moment you check in, you are just taken care of. There is everything you could possibly imagine in those rooms and more, and just the scene was just incredible. And it definitely, and we'll talk about this, but gave us a sense of like, what did we do to deserve to be here? And we're going to talk about that mindset. But first impression wise, earning this is non-negotiable for your business if you want it to go somewhere, because the experience in general is really focused on where you're at in your business. And I loved that. Like when you go to Super Saturday, when you go to Summit, Summit a little more, like depending on the tracks, like even more now, I know that 2-star and above training is non-negotiable because of the content that my mind is still exploding from this weekend. But this event was a very much meet you where you're at with your leadership style and finding duplication in your team versus how do I impact everybody that's in attendance no matter where they're at in their business. So I'll let Amanda and Jill kind of talk about their first impressions.
Okay, so I'm on my phone, so I can't see all of you, which is probably even better because I get so nervous. But anyways, as an introvert, I am still trying to like process it all. I feel like my mind was just blown by it all, just the experience. But when we got up to the room, my room wasn't done yet, and I went into Amanda's room, and I was standing there talking to her, and I was like, girls, I don't feel like I'm supposed to be here. And I was like, this is more than I could have ever imagined. Like just looking around at all of the people that worked so hard to get there. And I was like, you know, I feel like my entire team needs to be here with me because yes, I earned it, but I didn't earn it alone. And I think, you know, like I almost needed that support from my team to know it's okay to be here. You earned this. And so I almost feel like it's still a whirlwind in my mind, and it's just hard for me to process. But the way that Beachbody takes care of their coaches is just remarkable. I mean, down to the point where everything has your name on it, and just the little details of asking for transformation pictures from your team was like amazing. You know, like how have you transformed your team? How did you get them results? And it wasn't until that last night, I think we were all sitting around there talking, and it's like, you know, like we didn't earn this alone, but it started with us saying yes and moving forward and being consistent and loving on our team and showing them what's possible. And I think it was just at that moment, I think I said to myself, I just need to level up even further because my team deserves that. So that's my takeaway.
Wow, you guys are so hard to follow. The same thing. We actually stayed in an Airbnb the night before, and it was within walking distance to the hotel. So it was like this nice little apartment, like Airbnb, but as we're walking up to the hotel, we're like, oh my gosh, like that's the hotel we're staying at. Like, no way. And it was just so cool because like, obviously being from small town Iowa, like you don't see these things everywhere. And so just the experience in general was really, really eye-opening for me with what's possible with this. But yeah, we were talking at dinner the last night, and it's like you play kind of these mind games with yourself, like, do I deserve this? How did I get here? Like, what did I really just do to make this happen? And like Joel said, it starts with you, and it starts with you showing up, and it's not one defining moment, but it's just you continuing to show up over and over again and showing everyone else what is possible. But yeah, it's just all the little things that Beachbody did was amazing. I think my favorite part was hanging up the transformation photos. That really, really meant a lot to me, because I was literally in LA looking at pictures of my teammates and how they've transformed. And that like makes me emotional. So that was really amazing. But just the little details, like being able to go on Joel's tour bus for 10 rounds and trying the program and trying the new Energize. All of the meals that they gave us were Fixate approved, and they had printed off container counts so that we could see like what we were eating and what was in everything. And it was just really, really cool. Experience overall was phenomenal. So I encourage all of you to try and get there next year, and just make it happen, because it's amazing.
Yeah, like, and I want to point out too, one thing that we also talked about and kind of processed is that Jill, Amanda, and I have stayed the path, right? We're not brand new coaches who saw success quickly in this business. We're coaches who took time and heart and love to pour into our teams. You know, there were some coaches that showed up there that could hang up one transformation picture of people on their team. And we showed up there with like our 12 or 15 like pictures of our people on our team and couldn't find space on the board, because we've taken the time to build culture, and we didn't expect this just to be a quick thing. We really have poured our hearts into this. And I thought that that was really interesting. There was a whole section one day on creating a team culture. And once you find that team culture, you're going to find growth. And I just felt super proud of the culture that's been set for us from Happy and Fit, the example that we have to set cultures for our team. And not that we didn't learn anything from that section, but I think that was a moment of pride for us where we were like, yes, we got that. Yes, we got that. Because if there's one thing we aren't short on our teams, it's love. And I think that other people chase different things to grow their business. And for us, we chase relationships first. So I want to show you my notes. I took like this whole little journal Beachbody gave us. I think I used half of it. But on my very first page, I wrote, "You deserve a seat at the table." And you really have to believe that in your heart. So I wrote that on the first page and highlighted it. I wrote it on the second page and highlighted it. I wrote it on the third page and fourth page. And I had to keep affirming that I was in the right place and that I did deserve this, because it really did start with me saying yes. And the best thing about this business is it's not a me business, it's a we business. And I'm going to show my team what's possible. I'm going to show my team that this can be them too. I'm going to lead by example, and I'm going to set that tone that there's room at the top for their success too. You know, there is only 10 top coaches, right? But that's not what we chase. Like, that is wonderful. And I would be so freaking proud if a Happy and Fit coach was top 10, but we chase choices and we chase freedom. And I think that us just knowing that we deserve that, and that when we understand that we deserve it, it will flow openly to us. That was really, really important. And every presentation, every single one spoke about belief and how it has to start with you believing that you can do this and you believing that this will change other people's lives. Because if you don't believe either of those things, you're not going to go anywhere with this. You have to know it in every bone in your body that this is the right place. You are exactly where you need to be. And this is exactly what you need to do to help other people find the freedom of choices too. And there was a section when you start believing things like that, it's scary, right? Because it's unconventional, it's different, it's going to change your life in a way you've never been impacted before. And someone said this, that a corporate leader was working with one of their coaches and they hashtagged chasing butterflies. And I think when you believe so deeply in something like that, and you know what this can do for other people, that you need to put yourself in that chasing butterfly zone, like constantly feeling like you're growing. Because if you don't feel like you're chasing butterflies, you're not putting yourself outside of your comfort zone and doing things to grow your business in ways that it's never grown before. And this whole trip for me was chasing butterflies. I've never been to an event where there have been so many incredible leaders all surrounding me, like all there for one reason, to freaking kick butt, take names, and grow their business. And you just have to constantly work from that space of, yeah, it makes me uncomfortable, but that's exactly why I should do it. Don't run from the uncomfortable, just like sit and marinate there. Like that is where you're supposed to be, is that state of tension. And that's going to keep you finding ways to like get out of that state for you to put yourself back in it, right? Like those skills that you develop will then become a comfort. And then as soon as it becomes comfortable again, challenge yourself again, because that's how your business is going to grow. And consistency, like when you believe that and you chase butterflies and you consistently do it, that's the staying the path I'm talking about, right? Like that's when things are going to get big and get awesome for you. Is you just have to be willing to be more consistent than other coaches. Like the difference between a coach and a coach that grows their business to find those freedom of choices are the coaches that are just willing to show up when they have the stomach flu for a team call because their team has been looking forward to this for 2 weeks since you went, right? Like I had to show up tonight despite whether I was on the bathroom floor on my computer or not, because I'm showing up for them. And that consistency is crucial. Like I know you hear it all the time. I know you hear consistency all the time, but hear me when I say that there is no difference between top coaches than you. They're just willing to be more consistent and more uncomfortable every day than we are. Right? So let that be a gut check for you. I think that was one of my biggest takeaways, as well as the fact that I need to get more organized while my business is smaller. Like my business isn't small necessarily by any means, but before my organization keeps growing without systems in place, I need to actually go freaking set up Google Streak to have challengers and coaches and like quick places that I can be routinely touching base, besides trying to set up a message thread every time I'm trying to check in with certain people. Like that is not using my time wisely, right? I used to be super successful at coach inviting with a coach document that tells my story and the top 5 things about coaching, and then embedding a video in it about my story. Why haven't I updated that in a year? Like I need to teach my team those systems, and my team is a reflection of what I'm doing and how organized I am because I'm teaching them, right? So I think that was something that I've now started working on my coach document, and the sneak peek on Thursday, that is going to be bomb. I'm going to embed in that document. But it's my goal as their leader to show them how to duplicate things to get them to where I'm at, right? Like I don't want success just for me. I want it for them too. And so putting systems in place, like I have a very good challenger onboarding process and coach onboarding process, but my invitation process is kind of like a flavor of the day thing. So I need to find more consistency in what I'm doing, and I'll be more likely to do it when I know that I can go in my inbox and just do that thing and then get out, right? And then one of my other things was don't let them dictate your results. So you know how Julianne was talking about at the beginning, like, have you ever felt annoying to anyone? Like, what do they have to say anyways? Like, do you really want someone else to be in control of and use their judgment to dictate how your business grows or not? And I think as women, like we compare, and that's natural, but we have to shut that down and we have to bless and release. And Julianne, I use that all the time, bless and release. But if someone just isn't giving you their vibe, they're not ready to be helped by you, right? Like just move on. Don't let that person not being ready dictate the fact that your business isn't going to grow. Like if you keep pouring into them, trying to convince them, we're not in the business of convincing, and that never ends well. Like tensions are just going to get higher. If someone's not ready to hear what you have to say, they're not going to take it the way that it needs to be taken. So bless and release those people, and don't let anyone else's opinions dictate the success that you feel like you are ready for and you believe in every bone of your body that you're out there chasing. And then I think I'm going to let Amanda and Jill go because I could literally keep reading my notes, but I feel like I want to bounce off of them. And also we need to talk about bod groups and how that's going to be awesome. That wasn't like a top takeaway, but that tool is coming and it's going to rock. So we want to share a little bit about what we learned. So I don't know if Jill or Amanda, you want to go next.
Oh my goodness. That was so good. I don't know how to follow that. But anyways, I would say for myself too, systems was so huge for me because I have this coach email and I have this challenger email and it just sits there and I don't utilize it enough and I haven't updated videos and stuff like that. And it was like a light bulb for me. Like, I need to make these systems so much easier, not only for myself, but yes, my coaches too. And so yesterday I took action. Even though I had older videos in there, I still plugged them into my email because I was like, I can use this for right now to send out to anybody that's interested, and then update those videos as I have time. But yeah, I mean, it's just a matter of simplifying the process to make your life easier. And people don't need this big, huge, extravagant thing. They need the information that's going to make them say yes and make them feel like have that sense of FOMO, fear of missing out. They want to be a part of something so special. They want that sisterhood. There's so many women that need this. But I'm going to go to what Kevin Shaw said about half asking it, not half, but half asking it. So he was talking about quality of service. And he said, when it comes to the quality of service, you can't half ask it. So basically, he was talking about his family and how they would set goals at the beginning of the year. And then they would go back and look at those goals at the end of the year to see if they had accomplished their goals or not. And they found that at the end of the year, they were only accomplishing half of what they said that they wanted to do. So basically, he was saying that you have to have goals, but if you only have okay goals, you're only going to have okay results. So things aren't really changing if you're half asking your goals. So in the middle of his little speech, he gave us these little magnets, and I don't even have mine, but it's on the magnet, it says, don't be casual. And then he talked about don't be casual in your business. He wants you to grade yourself on filling out your Success Club tracker, and everybody emphasized how important the Success Club tracker is. Like, this is it's proven, it works. You just have to put it in, you have to be consistent and show up. So everybody was focusing on the tracker. So you guys, this works. Just bring it out, check it off, do your work. It will compound over time. And he basically said, grade yourself on how well you fill out your tracker. You have to put in an A grade with your tracker to get an A grade result in your business. And then Morgan touched on the chasing butterflies, feeling that butterflies feeling in your stomach in 2019. What sparked that feeling in your body? Was it helping a challenger? Was it helping a coach? What brought that excitement to your life in 2019? And then he talked about trust and how business moves at the speed of trust. If trust is low, your team is struggling. Don't dare lose your trust. And then this was really like off the cuff. He just basically said, don't be a dollar store condom. Don't break their trust. And basically said, you wouldn't walk into Dollar General and buy condoms. You want the best quality condom out there if you didn't want to have a baby, right? So you would go in somewhere high quality to get a good condom. So basically he says you need to give them the best quality of customer service that you can that makes them come back for more. And then he talked about grade yourself on how your groups went. And we do need to talk about bod groups because I think our team runs Facebook groups, but bod groups are going to be something that will seriously revolutionize, I think, our groups for new coaches. It's gonna pretty much allow them to run their groups on their own and feel confident right out of the gate. And we can talk about, I don't know how we want to talk about that, if that's going to be like another time that we share that, but and then he talked about grading yourself as a role as a leader, and question yourself, are my team members growing? If they are, then your leadership is on point. The success of your team comes to you on your ability to lead them. So you need to show up, just like Morgan. I mean, she's showing up for this call and she feels icky. That is leading from the front and just showing them that you're there. No matter how hard life gets, you're still showing up. And I was so inspired by Melanie Mitro when she said, you know what? Nobody expects you to be perfect, but like just being honest and saying, like, if you're in a team page saying, you know what, I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm going to try this, and just be confident in knowing that you're still leading your team, even if you don't feel 100% like with that decision, you're still making movement in the right direction. I think this business is so much trial and error. And we just need to trust that no matter what we do, we are still leading from the front. And your team is going to follow in your footsteps. If you just show up and you just 10x it, they're going to show up too. And just remembering that, you know, your coaches are going to do half of what you do as a leader. So show up hard and be consistent, lead from the front, and lead with your heart. So hopefully that helps.
I think my biggest thing out of what everyone was saying is that you have to have belief in this. Like, it is the number one thing that you have to come into this with. Like, this is going to get hard. There's going to be times when, yes, the vital behaviors are simple, but it's going to be hard to do them. And you just have to show up anyway. You have to believe that it's going to make a difference. And you have to ask yourself, why not me? Why not me? Like, why not me? Literally, like, you look around and there were 400 people in this room. One of the top coaches on the stage was one of the people in those seats last year. And she just decided, why not me? And had belief that she could make it happen. She like didn't have an Instagram following. She didn't know what she was doing. She's pretty young, like, and she just went for it. And you just have to have that belief and like have that push you through your hard days to get your tracker done when you don't feel like it, to read your PD when you're in a funk, and just keep pushing through. And obviously I know that because our team talks about belief all the time, but it's just cool to be sitting in a room of that many people and hearing it with everyone in person. And just kind of to go off that, like, I have to be the proof that this works. So for my team to know that this works and to believe that this works, I have to be the proof of that. So I can't be giving up when things get hard, and I can't be letting down. I can't be letting off the gas. I have to show them what is possible if we just keep going. My team is going to follow what I do. So also the tracker was one of my biggest takeaways. I, for the longest time, followed a tracker every single day, and that is how like I hit Success Club every single month. And I just kind of like got worn off of it, and I was like, okay, I can do this without it. But something that really hit me was that if you're tracking, you're building a business. If you're not tracking, this is a hobby. And that was like a huge gut check for me. Like, if you are not tracking what you're doing, if you're not tracking your results, if you're not looking at your numbers, this is a hobby, and you can't expect to build a business if you're treating it like a hobby. So a B business does not give you A grade results. So you can't expect to have this really awesome, thriving business if you're only putting C or B quality work into it. And then I also wrote down that business moves at the speed of trust, but we don't need to go over that quote again. It was so funny because the night before when we were at the party, Amanda Hendrickson, who's on Team Rockstar Fit, just went up to Kevin Shaw and was like, you know, Kevin, like, you are so awkward. And he's like, thank you. Like, this is the best compliment ever. And he's like, just wait until tomorrow. And we're like, wait, what? Yes, it was super awkward, but so funny. And no one's ever going to forget it. But I really liked when Kevin was talking about reflecting on your year and how good of a leader that you are. And I think sometimes we overcomplicate leadership a little bit, but literally it's just like showing up the best that you can every single day and showing others what you're doing. Like, it's super simple, and you have to keep it simple for others to be able to duplicate that. But I liked when he said that leadership and success are intertwined. So if you want more success, you have to increase your leadership level. So I can't be doing the same things that I was doing last year if I want to be more successful than I was last year. So I need to get on more calls. I need to be mentored more, lean into a corporate mentor, read more books, do all of the things that I can do to increase my leadership level, and then my success will follow. Success caps at your leadership level. So I think a big balance part of this is knowing that you have to stay in phase one. You have to keep growing your own business. You have to keep doing the vital behaviors, but you just have to get better at being a mentor, at being a better leader, and using your time efficiently. And I think a huge part of that is having those systems in place and being organized. And so I loved all of Melanie Mitro's talks. If you ever listen to her stuff, she's very organized. But yeah, just keeping things simple and, having the tools for your team to use to give out to people. Julian's been doing an awesome job with this in the Coach Collab and helping us with the Self-Love Club and the sneak peeks and everything like that. If we just create simple tools that our teams can use, then there's going to be duplication. Yeah, I think those were my biggest things. Do your tracker and keep things really simple, because that's what people want in this business.
One more thing came to my mind. Well, 5 more things, but one more thing that I want to talk about was that whatever you want out of this business is okay. You don't have to listen to this call and decide you're going to be a top 10 coach. You might be totally cool with rocking this as a hobby. Put your blinders on and own that. That is wonderful. There are coaches here for all sorts of different reasons, but no matter what the reason you're here, set goals so that way you know how to take action to get there. Because if your goals keep moving around and your goals keep wavering, you're never going to be certain how to exactly get there, because you're not quite sure what you even want out of this. So until you get super clear on what you want out of this and own that, you're not going to take the correct steps. Your brain isn't going to create a roadmap or action items on how to get there unless you know what you want. So if you want income out of this, okay, great. We can build you a roadmap for that. If you want great self-care out of this, awesome, great. We can build you a roadmap for that. But if you aren't quite sure, you're sort of in, you're sort of out on the business side, you're sort of in, you're sort of out on your self-care, you're not going to create that consistency that's going to get you the results you sort of want. So I think that was one thing that I wanted to make a point to share too.
That was so good. Seriously, so good. And I just think it makes me reflect too of what has built my business. And I think more than anything, and I can't even begin to express it, on this team, I just want people to have a better relationship with their potential, a better relationship with themselves, a better relationship in all of the roles of their life. And I just don't want them to keep putting themselves last. I just think and believe that when you can pour into yourself, your mindset, your faith, your body, all the things, you become unstoppable in the best kind of way. It's so good. And I think too, Amanda, when you're talking about staying in phase one, that's something that I think I've been so good at, but it doesn't have to be a chore. This is something I need to really drill down, is in the beginning, it took a lot of effort because I had to learn how to show up when I didn't feel like it, when I was really tired, when I was sick, when, this and that. I had to learn how to show up in a new season of life, a transition, a move, homesickness, a miscarriage. I had to quitting my job, feeling what the heck did I just do? When coaches would quit, I had to learn how to show up when I felt like everyone else lacked belief. And that was really hard. It's really easy to set big goals when you love this. It's really hard to keep going for it when it's hard. And so what I had to master in the beginning was just staying in phase one. And if I could just shed some light on all of you right now, phase one isn't hard for me anymore. I have to course correct time to time. I have to wear adjustable pants. Not in all actuality, but I do love adjustable pants. But I also have to reinvent myself. I have to get creative, which I love about this business. I love that it goes to our favor of creativity with whatever way you are creative. I think I'm creative in leadership and motivation. I'm not so creative with graphics and things like that, but it doesn't really matter. But phase one for me is brushing my teeth because of how consistent I've been with it, that I don't even need to think about it. I'm not afraid of it, but it took a long time to get there. So thank you for talking about that. But I think sometimes we think there's just this huge mountain to climb with being in phase one, or is it always going to be massively hard, defeating, all these things? And it's not. Like, there are times where you can legitimately step away, do what you need to do, and get out, and your business is still going to grow. It's not going to be solely you putting in 10 hours of work every day. Like, it doesn't work like that. But when you're really good at it and you get in, get out, it thrives and you feel better about it and you have a better relationship with it. So thank you for sharing that. Wow, you all deserve a seat at the table. And thank you, you three, for just bringing your energy. And I just cannot even express how proud I am and how excited I was to see you, because I would have to say, when you're like, I deserve to be here, and then you're feeling guilty about being there, no, I deserve to be here, and this back and forth thing, your team wouldn't be able to ever know something like this if you didn't go. Otherwise, you'd just be sharing it through my experience or someone else's experience. But because you've been there, you understand why this is so good. Because now that you've elevated yourself to a place of understanding how awesome this is, you're able to inspire a bunch of people that you're able to link arms with. And that's the difference. I always view that stuff of, when I get somewhere, it's not for me to just stay there. It's for me to show other people how to get there and why they should get there and how they can do it, and just breathe, like that whole thing. NLC is 1 star, and that is helping. So when you go diamond, you help 2 PS go emerald, right? So 1 star is helping a PS go diamond. But the thing is, this is where phase 1 matters. The goal, this is why I set emerald again, because what should happen in 4 months if you're really following this metric? You have 8 PS coaches. That's the minimum. That's why I set these metrics, to help you, so you don't look at this astronomical goal and automatically feel defeated. It's looking at the bigger picture and being like, oh, I can do that, because you can. So good. Any last things you want to end with?
I do have a couple more that I could talk about.
Is
as
Morgan
long as we have
not
time.
crushing it? No, girl, let's go, because we're ready.
So one of the coaches that spoke to us talked about coaching and then used the analogy of energize. So when you're inviting and bringing into your team, like if someone looks tired on the street, we would have no problem chucking a stick of energize at them, saying this is going to change your life. Like, why wouldn't we think that same way about coaching? Like, because it's changed our lives so deeply, right? Like, I will share my no excuse juice with anyone and I have no problem. But why do I get that twinge in the pit of my stomach when someone says you do that coaching thing? Like, I shouldn't, like, why am I making it a bigger deal than it isn't? Because coaching is the best product we have. Right. And I've heard that language before, but it just clicked to me when, like, I could go out in the street and preach energize, but I would think twice about preaching coaching. Like, I have to gut check myself there, because I need to preach coaching too. And then I shared this with my team already because of the impact that it's had on me. But one of the corporate mentors that was there Sydney Moore. I don't know if you guys have seen her around at things, whatever. She told this story and she told it super well. And it gave me a really big gut check with inviting. So she said that when she came to Beachbody from another network marketing company 4 or 5 years ago, she wanted to do a little investigation on the inviting process and understand it more deeply and figure out why coaches have tendencies one way versus others and whatever. So she went on her Facebook and found someone that she was an acquaintance with that she felt comfortable calling that was a Beachbody coach. She called her up and she said, "Hey, so-and-so, I have a couple questions about coaching. I have a couple questions about inviting. Do you mind sharing with me?" And the girl was like, "Yeah, of course." So she asked, "Why didn't you ever invite me to coach with you?" And what the person said kind of is obviously still has hung with her long enough that 4 or 5 years later, she's telling it at NLC to us. But the person said, "Well, Sid, I don't think that you need this because when I look at your social media, like you look great, you're out on the weekends with your friends, you look happy. So why would I invite you?" But little did that person know that Sydney has struggled with body dysmorphia and an eating disorder for the last 10 years of her life. And that even though she looked super fulfilled superficially, she was not super fulfilled internally. And to the point where she got emotional and said that her tendencies she now sees in her sister. So good news is she can be the light for her sister, right? But can you imagine if that person wouldn't have just made the assumption based on Sydney's highlight reel to invite her or not? Like, what if Julianne wouldn't have invited me? I haven't struggled with weight. In fact, I've struggled the opposite. I've always been smaller, but it wasn't the outside that was my problem. It was what I thought was my problem when I joined. But what I really needed to lose was perfectionism, insecurity, and negativity. And then I would feel all the feels and full body health and change my mindset and all of that. So when you are going out inviting, people can rock social media to try fill something that's not being filled. So don't assume because someone is rocking their social media that they don't need this. Send the invite anyways, because that person may be the person that needs it the most.
That's so good. And I think it's just a reminder too that in your social media, when you share moments like that, the moments you're jealous, the moments you're feeling worried, the moments that you're insecure, the moments that you struggled with the mirror, the moments that you finally overcame something or used to think a certain way and you're working through it, people want to join someone who's going somewhere and working on it. The common struggle. And I would have to say, like, that is an advantage in social media with building this business is you just sharing your story well. Kobe Bryant says, stories move the world. And if you can get really good at sharing your real story, then people will say, if she can do it, then I can do it. I think about that. Why do people love watching people pregnant? Because they're seeing the progression. People have been loving watching Faye and going, I can't believe she's 6 months. Why? They've been on this journey with me from miscarriage to pregnancy to not knowing, then it's Faye, right? Like all these little things. And they're just on this story with me, but I've been allowing them to be a part of the story. So what's your story, your fitness story? Morgan gained, was it 10 pounds on your honeymoon?
Yeah, in 10 days, I gained 10 pounds because of how underweight I was.
Yeah, and there was more to that and a lot of back and forth of inviting and you seeing stuff, but that was like the breaking point for you. But I had planted seeds and then she knew to come to me and then she became a challenger and then it took forever for her to finally say yes to coaching. But like, this is what I was inviting her to. But we can see a lot of things that others can't see because you're a part of it now. But I must have shared something, a story that resonated with Morgan.
You shared that you were happy and that when you smiled, you meant it.
Man.
And that's what resonated with me the most was that.
Wow. That's so good, you guys. Like, how saying yes to this, like, what do you see in your future? Like, when we wrote that, what 5 years do you see with yourself? Do you see a happier version? Do you see someone who's less negative? Like, we're not perfect here. We have our, like, we're not trying to paint that either. We're just trying to work on ourselves inch by inch, PD by PD, Zoom by Zoom, workout by workout, shake by shake, person by person. But where are you going, and how have you already seen a glimmer of hope or change or transformation? And so much of it is like, I'm a less jealous person. I think everybody can win. I didn't think that. I only thought it was only the few that could. I just thought that would never be me. And now being in this, I'm like, there's no scarcity. There's so much potential. Anyone can do this. We don't own any spaces. I don't own, like, no one else owns social media. All these influencers you see, I have the space too. We get to share it. They can be massively successful, and so can I. And I've also learned that success doesn't have to do with title and money and bank accounts and numbers. Success, honestly, I think about this, like, I love my life. And if I'm not recognized for anything in Beachbody because of that, that's okay. Because at the end of the day, I love my life. I love it. Can we get to that point? And then when you love your life, you share your story, and then you also have a great bank account, and then you also have more choices, and then you also feel really good, and you're also impacting other people. That's how this works. But you've got to be willing to do it. Ladies, you're so amazing, and I'm just so proud of you. I'm so proud, and I just hope that someone on this call listened to you, listened to Amanda, and Amanda said, why not you? I felt your belief in that. You were saying that to everybody, but the way you said it, I heard you actually believing it. And that was the phrase I said at my first summit when I heard people talking about how much they loved this, because I loved it just as much, or if not more. I loved my team just as much, if not more. And so I sat there in the seats going, if she can do this and she's saying there's room and that's how this works, I can do this. Why not me? I'm my only limitation right now. No one else is. No one else's success is your limitation. That's why I love this. I hope you write that down. No one else's success is your limitation. You are your own limitation. Conquer that, you're limitless. Wow. So good, ladies. Thanks for inspiring me tonight. Thank you for I love this. I'm not going anywhere. I'm like staying in phase 1. I'm still like, you guys, I'm in here. I'm so ready. I've been almost a coach for 6 years, and I'm like, the next 6 years are going to be insane. I'm so excited about it. It's going to be incredible. And I hope you're going with me, because I'm not stopping. I'm going somewhere. And where that somewhere is just a whole lot of happiness, a whole lot of health, a whole lot of working through a whole lot of hard things, because life happens. But this journey has given me tools and skills. It's increased my faith because it's made me more disciplined, that whatever comes my way, I have a community and a lifestyle and a faith that is just getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And I'm breaking a whole hell of a lot of chains that I thought were going to be my statistics. And they're no longer my statistics, and they're no longer my chains, because I'm a chain breaker. And I hope you're a chain breaker too, whatever that may look like in your life. A chain breaker from eating disorder, debt, a chain breaker, right? These things that you'll never amount to anything, breaking that chain, you can amount to whoever you want to be. That's why I love this. You all are incredible, and I'm so thankful to link arms with you. Jill, Amanda, Morgan, you ladies deserve this so hard, because your hearts are so in the right place of how much you love. Jill, for you to be like, I want my team here with me, because you're there, they are. Like, because you chose to just go for it anyway, because so many people choose not to because they want to make themselves smaller. They don't want to be too big for people. But that's not what I see you doing. I see you clearing more space and showing people how much room there is for all of us. That's what I see with you going to these places and sacrificing your time with your kids and all the things. Like, you all are wonderful. Morgan, you probably had to take off of work. Like, Sean had to move things around. Amanda, same thing. Like, so much. You ladies are amazing.